I'd like to welcome everyone to the third session in our five-session series for parent, caregivers, and community members, sponsored by SSA, the School of Social Service Administration at the University of Chicago, and Urban Education Institute, UEI. This evening, we have the honor of having the team from UChicago Impact talk to us tonight about literacy and reading aloud with your child. So just a couple of notes. We've already had a few of those notes in the chat. So note number one is that this session is being recorded, and the copy of the recording and the deck will be shared with every registrant. So anyone that registered for this program will get a copy of the recording of this session and the deck that's going to be shared by the group. So that comes, probably 72 hours after the session is over. We encourage people to take that link and share it with as many people as possible that you think would benefit from the great session that we're about to have. Next, the closed captioning button is in the bottom right-hand corner. So if you are in need of closed captioning, we do have closed captioning for tonight's session. And that's also been mentioned in the chat. The chat is closed, but the Q&A is open and you can ask a question during the session. We do have someone from the UChicago Impact team manning the Q&A to answer those questions. And then lastly, we'll be taking questions at the end. So we probably have about 10 minutes at the end of the session to also answer any questions or expound on any questions that happen during the Q&A. I neglected to introduce myself. My name is Dwayne Davis. I'm the Executive Director of K-12 Education Initiatives at the University of Chicago. And I also run a program called My Very Own Library. And I'm an English teacher by birth and by trade. So I'm very excited to be here tonight to hear the great work and the reflection of the resources that are going to be shared by UChicago Impact. And again, we're being recorded. You're going to get a copy of the recording and a copy of the deck. And I'd like to hand it over to Julie, who will kick us off from the UChicago Impact team.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. My name is Julie McGann, and I am presenting this evening with my colleague, Mindy Garrison. And we've worked at UEI, the Urban Education Institute, for a number of years now. Mindy and I are both former classroom teachers and reading specialists. Between us, we have about 35 years of experience of working with students ranging from kinder through 8th grade. And through UEI, we now work with schools across the country, supporting teachers and leadership teams with literacy assessment and instruction. But more importantly, we are parents just like you. So over the years, we've learned through our own experiences, reading aloud to our own children, attempting to put research into action. We have two very special guest stars tonight, our colleagues, Wendy Collins and Hanna Frank, who have graciously agreed to share their reflections about the read aloud experience with their own children and some video. Though tonight's session is designed for parents, we realize we may have some parent educators or some teachers in the group, and we really hope that you walk away from today's session with some good ideas about how to support parents with Read Aloud. So Mindy and I hope that our hour together is engaging and a really good learning experience for all of you. So before we begin, we want to take some time to learn more about your children and your comfort level with Read Aloud. So please take a second to complete this Zoom poll, and we can go ahead and launch the Zoom poll. All right, so it looks like we have parents here who have children from infants to teens. And as parents, you already know that children go through many stages, much to our reluctance, dismay, or disappointment sometimes. But it's knowledge of these stages that can really guide us with how we engage with our children in the Read Aloud experience. So all of you joined this session today because you're interested in how you can bond with your child through Read Aloud, especially now that everything's virtual and we're so much more homebound than usual. So tonight, let's learn about Tonight, let's learn about how we can just let loose and have fun with our children around the written word, whether it's an ebook, a text, a tweet, an Instagram, a Snapchat, or a TikTok, or whether read aloud is a part of your everyday life or routine or on your to-do list. We hope that in our short hour together, we can help you feel more confident to engage with reading aloud to your child, no matter what their age is. So we're going to use the Q&A this evening, not the chat feature, and we are going to have a short bit of time at the end of the session. And so we ask that you please use the Q&A during the session to ask any questions or jot any reflections that you notice so that we can maximize that time we have together at the end of our session. Take a minute to review the learning outcomes for tonight's engagement. Okay. So this quote was taken from a report called Becoming a Nation of Readers, and it was written as a result of a 1983 study recommended by the Commission of Reading and funded by the U.S. Department of Education. And so this commission spent 2 years pouring through thousands of research projects that were conducted in the previous quarter of a century. And so among its primary findings, 2 very simple declarations ran loud and clear. The first, the single most important activity for building the knowledge required for eventual success in reading is reading aloud to children. The second declaration is even more simple. It's a practice that should continue throughout the grades. So even though the study was published in the 80s, it's still relevant. Many researchers, news sources, and bloggers are still referencing this study and trying to inform parents about the importance of read aloud. Jim Trelease devoted his career to this concept through a book called the Read Aloud Handbook. So this book has 8 editions, the last being published in 2019, and it is devoured by educators and parents alike. And in my opinion, it is the single greatest resource on the topic of read aloud that you can get. And most booksellers sell this book. However, we do recommend that you get the 8th edition. So in the words of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, reading is the key that opens doors to many good things in life. Reading shaped my dreams, and more reading helped me make my dreams come true. And in perhaps the less eloquent way of Jim Trelease, the more you read, the more you know, and the more you know, the smarter you will grow. So we parents have the power. If we find authentic conversational ways to engage with our children with any form of the written word at any point of day, from birth to teen and beyond, we can empower them with the confidence, the motivation, and the stamina that they need to keep on reading. So reading really, truly does open doors. Remember when we talked about how children's stages can really guide how we engage with read aloud to them? We're going to now talk about reading with young children. So here's what a little bit of the research says about reading with young children. 3 times a week. 3 times a week. So that means just a little bit of practice can make a big difference. I know our schedules are really busy and hectic, but what if those 3 times a week could be on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday when we have more flexibility in our scheduling? Vocabulary. Indirectly through read aloud, you're expanding your child's vocabulary. And research proves that children's academic successes by the ages of 9 and 10 can be attributed to the amount of talk that they hear from birth through age 3. And additionally, research shows that children's books contain 50% more rare words than you would hear in primetime television or even college students' discussion. So through read aloud, you really have the ability to develop your child's vocabulary in a fun way that doesn't feel like school. And you're really going to see a great example of that when you see Hanna reading aloud to her son, Bailey. They're reading a very popular Eric Carle book called Brown Bear, Brown Bear. So let's see.
We're going to read Brown Bear, Brown Bear. Ready to read Brown Bear, Brown Bear? Okay. Let's toss the animals around. Toss. Can you toss them? Toss. Toss. Uh-oh, Billy. Can you turn that one around? Upside down. Uh-oh, upside down. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Toss this one. Toss him around. Okay. Got him? You ready? Let's read Brown Bear. Brown Bear, Brown Bear. Where's the Brown Bear? Brown Bear. Grrr. Brown Bear, Brown Bear. What do you see? I see a red bird looking at me. Where's the red bird? Good job. Red bird, what do you see? I see a yellow duck looking at me. Where's the duck? Good job. You found the duck. Quack, quack, quack. Quack, quack, quack. Yellow duck, what do you see? I see a blue horse looking at me. Good talking, horse. You found the horse. Blue horse, what do you see? I see a green frog looking at me. Where's the green frog? Yay, the green frog. Ribbit, 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 ribbit. Green frog, what do you see? I see a purple cat. Where's the cat? Where's the purple cat? Looking at me. Good job. Purple cat, what do you see? I see a white dog. Where's the white dog? Right, looking at me. White dog, what do you see? I see a black, you already have it, black sheep looking at me. Good talking, a sheep. Bat, bat. What does a sheep say? Bat, bat. Good talking. Black sheep, what do you see? I see a goldfish looking at me. You found the goldfish. Flop, flop, flop. Good talking. Goldfish, what do you see? I see a teacher looking at me. Where's the teacher? Good job. Teacher, what do you see? I see children looking at me. Where are the children? Hooray, you found them. Children go, ha, ha, ha. Good job. Ha, ha, ha. Children, what do you see? We see a brown bear. Where's the brown bear? Brown bear. Where is he? Good job. A red bird. Where's the bird? Bird. Good talking. A yellow duck. Where's the duck? Duck. Where's the duck? Right. Quack, quack, quack. A blue horse. Good job. A green frog. Where's the green frog? Right. A purple cat. Cat, good job. A white dog. Woof, woof, woof. Where's the dog? Dog, where's the dog? Where's the white dog? Right. Woof, woof, woof. Good talking. A black sheep. Where's the black sheep? Where's the wait, black sheep? Sheep. Where are you? Good job. Bat. A goldfish. Where's the goldfish? Goldfish, where's the goldfish? Goldfish, where are you? Right, they go plop, plop, plop. Good job. And a teacher looking at us. That's what we see. Where's the teacher, baby? Where's the teacher? Right, teacher. Yay, the end. Good job. We're going to read Brown Bear, Brown Bear.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Hannah. And now we're gonna, Hannah's gonna share some reflections on what you just saw her doing with Bailey. So Hanna, why did you decide to emphasize certain sounds and words?
Yeah, so Bailey, he's actually in speech therapy and he has a expressive speech and receptive speech delay. So we work with his speech therapist to identify words we want to work on. And early in his therapy, we focused on what they call power words. So words that would help reduce frustration when he's trying to communicate and just help him give control of more situations. So words like more and me, which is why in the video you see me like patting my chest and being real expressive when I say me. So I think at this point that's just habit when I'm reading the book because we're a little beyond the point of me. But now that he is saying me and more of these power words, we're just trying to build his vocabulary. And we really choose words based off of his interests and what gets him excited. Because when he's having fun and excited, we can elicit more words. And right now it's animal sounds and their names. And so that's why we love Brown Bear, because obviously it gives you many chances to do that, multiple times to use the same animal in the same book. And as you can see, it's almost pretty predictable for him now because he can find the animals before I even ask.
Yeah, absolutely. But so much fun. You guys were both having so much fun, engaged. And then what are some of Bailey's favorite types of books?
So other than Brown Bear, he loves Where Spot. We have similar activities like that. So we can elicit words like peekaboo with Spot behind the door, animal sounds and names. He also loves Pete the Cat books. A lot of them kind of riff off of common children songs like Wheels on the Bus. So he likes things like that. And I like books like that for him because it makes it easy for me to emphasize and exaggerate common words for him that are going to help him to grow his vocabulary.
Yeah, absolutely. And you shared with us that was the main goal of the types of words that you chose, and then how you chose to structure how you guys engaged through the read aloud. Thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you can see, there's really no right or wrong way to go about this. You have to read what's interesting or fun or meeting the child's needs, right? Hanna just said to us, she's trying to develop Bailey's vocabulary. And so that's why she chose some of the texts that she chose so that she could expose him to that vocabulary. And as you can see, it was working. He was having a lot of fun and repeating some of the words. And so this was a really great way to do that. So take a second to read over. These are some of the benefits for reading with young children, and not only benefits for the child, but benefits for the parents as well. So the one thing, again, as you just heard Hanna speak to that, vocabulary. The one pre-kindergarten skill that matters above all others because it is the prime predictor of school success or failure is the child's vocabulary upon entering school. So you don't have to worry, right? It's not the toys in the house that make the difference. It's not the skill and drill and the flashcards. It truly is the words in their head. So when thinking about some do's and don'ts when reading aloud to young children, you can see what some of those are. So again, repetitive books and ones like Brown Bear that you heard Hanna reading to Bailey really expose children to more complex language structures at this age that they normally wouldn't produce on their own, but also very important vocabulary as well. Eric Carle's books are really great for doing this. They're repetitive and they're really great for read alouds for children at this age. And then predictable books. So predictable books really make understanding the author's message easier. And then books that have rhyme or wordplay in them really help to develop phonemic awareness skills, which is a really important part of children being able to learn phonics and decoding when they get to school. And then lastly, repeated readings. So we as parents, and I used to hear this as an educator all the time, we read the same books over and over again, and I'm sick of them. But actually repeated readings are a really good thing. And when your kids want to do that with you, it shows that it's an emotional experience and they feel connected when they do this and they want to repeat it and replicate it with you. So it really means that you are enjoying and bonding with your child. So now we're going to move on to talk about engaging with tweens. And when we talk about tweens, we're talking about children roughly from the ages of 9 to 12. And so before we dig into talking about Read Aloud with tweens, we're going to take another Zoom poll to get to know, to have you reflect on how you felt you were as a tween reader, but also if you have tweens, what your tween reader is reading. So you can go ahead and take a second to complete the Zoom poll. Okay, so just take a second and look at what you reflected on as tween readers and the types of reading that tweens like to do. So we already talked about how read aloud time is going to learn different as is going to look different as your child gets older. Oops, sorry, I forgot to share the results with you. There we go. So as you can see, the type of reading that tweens want to do and that you did varies greatly as you get older. And so we already talked about how read aloud time is going to look different for you as your child gets older. And the Zoom poll kind of really speaks to that. Book choice and interest really become a focus, as well as exposure to new and different types of written word. So at this stage, it's really important to be in tune with your child's attitudes and their interests. So let's take a look at what some of the research says. So at a basic level, or most students are proficient in reading by fourth grade, right? And so at a basic level, the majority of kids in grade 4 can read. But what's interesting is that by 8th grade, 24% are below basic level, 42% are at basic level, 25% are proficient, with only 3% being at an advanced level by 8th grade. Why? The second bullet really speaks to this. So this negative attitude towards reading starts to arise right around 4th grade, because now your children have to take the individual skills that they've been learning from kindergarten through 3rd grade and apply them to more complex texts across a variety of subject areas and genres. So they often don't have the prior knowledge, the interest even, the stamina or the motivation to even do this. That's required, right? And so that research says by providing this exposure over a wide array of reading materials across many topics from birth to teen can really help to curb this trend. So I'm going to turn it over to Mindy, who's going to talk to you more about the tween reader and share and introduce Wendy and her reading with her kiddos.
Good evening, everyone. So we're going to turn our attention to a second video clip of Wendy and her children, Josh and Maddie, having a book discussion about a series the entire family reads together. This video is a great example of when children are read to from an early age. Their attitude and feelings towards reading are positive. You will see Wendy engage in a conversation with Josh and Maddie, who are both 9 years old. They discuss a book series called Wings of Fire. While you're watching this video, I want you to notice the types of books they're reading. Notice how the conversation shifts to learning. Notice the vocabulary demands and how the children handle it. So let's take a look at this video.
Okay. He's like, wait a minute, what's happening? Wings of Fire, guys.
Yeah. Okay. That one is just, it's a mess.
Why is it a mess?
But it's amazing.
A mess, but amazing. Please explain.
Okay. Well, okay. So first they're stuck in a cave.
Are they stuck in a cave?
Well, they live in a cave.
Okay.
Then they sneak out and go,
Oh, but they sneak out. Okay.
and then they go to the water kingdom,
Okay.
and then they go to the rainforest.
Okay.
Julie, we can't hear the video.
Tsunami, Glory, Starflight, and Sunny.
Awesome. Who are they?
They're
This
the,
little group.
they're the dragonets of the prophecy.
Dragonettes of the prophecy. Okay. Awesome. How are we feeling about these characters?
Awesome. Amazing.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your favorite?
My favorite is Claire.
Really? Why?
Because you have to get them out of the cave.
Okay. Is there anything else about Clay that you like?
He's a good friend.
He is a good friend. He's very protective of his friends.
Yeah.
I like that about Clay. What about Maddie? Who's your favorite character?
My favorite is Glory. Well, she's Queen of the Rainwings.
Boo. Wait, was she supposed to be Queen of the Rainwings?
Well, no, but she won the test of things. The contest. Yeah. At the end of the story. Yeah, and then she became Queen of the Rainwings.
Okay.
Plus, she's pretty.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
She is gorgeous.
And she can shape shifts.
She can. Well, she does
Can
it
change
shape shifting?
colors.
What's that called?
Um,
She's like a
color change.
She blends in, right? What's
Yeah,
that called?
camouflage.
There it is. That's the word I was looking for. Camouflage. She does. Anything else that's real?
Deserts are real.
Mm-hmm.
Castles
Joshua?
are real. Yeah, dragons used to be real.
Did they?
I think so. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't either. We gotta look that up. Hey Google, are dragons real?
According to Wikipedia, a dragon is a large, serpentine legendary creature that appears in the folklore of many cultures around the world.
Folklore.
I think they're real.
Yeah.
They're probably not real. Yeah, no.
And she wants to win. We got Burn and Blaze are the sisters, right?
Yeah.
Blaze, Burn, and Blister.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How are we feeling about Blister since you brought her up?
Okay. I don't like her.
You don't like her.
Blister's evil.
Why is Blister evil?
She killed her sis. She killed Burn.
She killed Burn.
Yeah, and then she killed. I think. Wait, where? In the thing in the story, she said, wait. In the story.
Uh-oh, Josh about to give us some text evidence.
Let's see.
Oh, Blister said, I got you too. Did I leave that out? Leave that part out?
Lister got with the black sapphire is holding a second dragon viper lunged out of the box and sank its teeth into Burn's ankle. Then Burn died. What was your favorite book?
Mine?
Mhm.
Holy smokes. I think I liked Glory's story the best. Well, I don't know, because all of these books talk about their growth, right? As dragons.
Mm-hmm.
They were kept in this cave. And now they're discovering who they are as dragons. Right. Any final thoughts? Because we're about to start that second story arc, which Sunny previewed for us, right? So this story arc was all about the dragonets of the prophecy that we learned that really wasn't a prophecy at all. But we're stopping a war that's been going on for 20 years.
Yeah.
Right?
It was.
And these dragonets are supposed to stop this war from happening.
Yeah, that was supposed to be the prophecy.
Right. And then it ends, right? The war ends. So that is the end of this arc.
Duh.
But Sunny is like, let's teach other dragons, everything that they know, the fighting to be queen, that you can maybe talk to people to have a different outcome instead of fighting. So everything that they know about dragons, she says, maybe we can teach them a different way. Right? And they, at the end of the 5th book, they talk about creating a school.
Yeah.
That is the beginning of the second arc.
Wow, I just love the excitement and enthusiasm both Wendy and her children bring to this conversation. They all read each of these books independently, sharing the books together through discussion. You can see the authenticity of their conversations as they all take turns asking questions and sharing thoughts. I just love when they all came to a question they didn't know the answer to, they just paused and used Google. We parents don't have to have all the answers, and Wendy did a great job of modeling that for us. Very quickly, they found the answers they needed and were able to keep on with their discussion. So we're fortunate here to have Wendy with us as well. So let's talk to Wendy about her experiences as a mom and find out more about the family reading Wings of Fire. Hey, Wendy.
Hi, Mindy.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me. That was fun.
We have really enjoyed watching the video of you and Josh and Maddie. So one of the questions we were curious about, or wanted you to tell us a little bit more about, was just tell us about the family reading this book series together. One of the main points that we want to make today is getting our children involved in choosing books we read together. So why did you all choose the book series Wings of Fire? And how did everyone get a chance to read each book?
So Wings of Fire came about, the kids, they love art. So I signed them up for an art class over the summer that was drawing dragons. And we all love the How to Train a Dragon series, that movie series. And the teacher mentioned the Wings of Fire series. So I asked them, I was like, hey, you guys like drawing the dragons? Would you like to read the series? They're like, yeah, let's read it. And I happen to be a fan of dragons and all those mythical creatures. So we all dived in head first. Yeah.
That's awesome. You can tell the investment in the text chosen created excitement around reading and discussing this text. Let me ask you another question. How have your read aloud routines changed as Josh and Maddie have gotten older? How did you know they were ready to shift the way that you did read aloud or engaged around text together?
So like Hanna, it started with reading with mommy and daddy. And then as they've gotten older, it's through conversation, through watching what they like to play with, or through hearing what they talk about with their friends, finding what they're interested in, and then picking a book. And we don't read together necessarily anymore. Because they've developed their own interests, we read, if we're reading a book together, we'll read it independently and have our own like little book clubs and have discussions that way. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. We really appreciate you and the love and close connection that we got to see through this video with you and your kids. So thank you again. So hopefully, you know, just as we've transitioned from talking about young readers and moved into thinking about engaging with our tween readers, as you can see from this video, the way we go about reading may look different, and that's okay. There is no one right way, right? Or one right way to read with our children. And so taking a look at the benefits here on the screen, hopefully you've been kind of taking notes of many of the benefits there are to reading with your kids. Let's take a look at a few more when considering parents of tweens. So as our children grow, they change and need different things. So the way you engage with a book may look different, and Wendy showed us that example. Continuing to be a strong role model while following your children to grow and take ownership can be hard, but the more you learn about them through book discussions will strengthen your confidence about the child your son or daughter is. So we as parents have a lot to gain through reading and discussing books. Benefits to the tween themselves have some similar themes and benefits as well to younger readers. Continued growth around vocabulary remains consistent. Also, your tweens reading across a variety of topics and genres can help build background knowledge. This will strengthen and build stamina for them as the fourth grade shift comes about. The desire and positive attitude toward reading is critical at this age. Embarking on reading or discussing complex literature and issues together also helps improve problem solving and decision-making skills. So really quickly, the do's and don'ts when you think about this age group. Again, you're going to see some similar themes, but remember, there are no rules. There is no one right way to engage in a read aloud or book discussions with your tween. As you're planning to read with your tween, consider the following. If your children are ready for it, occasionally read above level to challenge their mind and perspectives. Whenever you finish up reading, leave your audience hanging, even if you can't, so that they're counting down the minutes until the next read. Sometimes we run out of time in our read alouds, and so having to finish a chapter each sitting is not necessary. And then finally, share with them your enthusiasm for whatever you're reading as well. Let them see you sitting down with a good book from time to time. So what is most important is that you and your children enjoy spending time together, talking and reading books. So now we're going to transition and talk a little bit and talk about older children. So reading aloud to an older child, an upper middle schooler, or your high school student may sound like a strange concept. Schedules get crazier, the hours of homework increase, time with friends all get in the way of sitting down to read together or discuss a common book. Believe me, I know. With a sophomore in college and a high school freshman, our days seem to have been nonstop ever since my oldest was a 7th grader. The benefits, however, according to research from reading aloud, does not stop with your little ones, though. It reminds us of the importance to continue engaging around text and discussion with your older children as well. Let them choose the text and explore their world and help you to explore their world through their interests. So we're going to take one last poll today, and I want you to just stop and reflect for a moment about yourself as a teen reader. Go ahead and launch the poll. Thank you. So who were you as a teen reader? Choose the description that connects to you the most. Mm-hmm. All right. Go ahead and share the results. So most of us on that as needed basis. I might have fallen into the category of my mom made me do it. But the reason I wanted you to stop and think about yourself as a teen reader is considering how read aloud, I'm sorry, let me just, that, is because I wanted you to consider the benefits of more time reading with your parents and discussing books may have had for you. So let's take a look at the research and see what it says about reading to our older children. So read and think about this first bullet here listed. When our children are moving from their tween years to being a teenager and life begins to move so much faster, we parents desperately look for ways to set aside time for intimate moments, to talk and connect with our children. If you have a teenager, you know this is the time in their life when they'd rather do other things than be with mom and dad. It's normal that our teenagers start to distance themselves in order to build their own independence. While building routines over the years, or even if you're starting today, including read aloud will help to continue protecting that time with your teen. It will help you to build deeper connections and bonds with your children. Take a look at the second research quote. The benefits to book talks and discussions have not changed. As you read the second bullet, you'll see that it reiterates the same benefits that motivate the parent to read at a younger to read to their younger children. As we have emphasized across all ages, the research consistently confirms that students' vocabulary, writing, and overall school success are greatly impacted. And so we want to continue this with our older students as well. And finally, blogs, articles, and research also talk about the impact of being a lifelong reader beyond the school years. If you're going to get anywhere in life, Roald Dahl, a well-known children's author, is credited with saying, you have to read a lot of books. Creating a love for reading and a curiosity for life starts at home. Modeling your love for reading great stories and building an interest in learning new information can happen naturally during a read aloud moment. So continue that routine and think about how you can get your child involved with a read aloud. So I'm going to take a moment, and I don't have a video, but I wanted to share a little bit about my experience with my daughter and our read alouds. So this last research quote that I mentioned really hit home with me. Reading aloud is the magic bullet for creating a lifelong reader. My goal with my children has always been to help them become lifelong readers, seekers of knowledge. When watching Wendy and her children interact around text and talk about the series they read together, I see her children's love for reading, their love for story, and interest in gaining new knowledge. I want the same for my children. However, we have not engaged in read aloud over the last couple of years. But I do believe it's not too late. So recently, and I'm gonna quickly just go through, recently, my daughter and I started our read aloud together. She's a freshman in high school, she's 14, and she happens to enjoy math and is interested in history, but Kaelee has enjoyed school, but has started to struggle a bit come fourth grade. And so I would actually consider Kaelee a reluctant reader. I would definitely say that around fourth grade was when she started to kind of not enjoy reading as much. And as a parent, I've done a lot of things to try to combat that. I've tried finding that just right book or the types of topics that she loves to read. I've encouraged her, but one thing I didn't do was necessarily start reading aloud with her. And so recently I approached her about starting a book to read aloud together. With the extra time that we have both being at home for school and work, she was excited about it. So we discussed possible books and the types of books she found interesting. She's always enjoyed historical fiction, and so I also enjoy historical fiction. So we decided on a book that was actually on my reading list called Unbroken by Laura Hillenbrand. If you're not familiar with it, it's a biography or a memoir set during World War II. She agreed it was a good book to read, and I promised her I would set my teacher lens aside and that, we would just read for fun. She was excited about the opportunity, and so was I, so we ran with it. Since we've started reading aloud, we were only able to fit about 3 to 4 times a week in for about 30 to 45 minutes, and typically get through 1 or 2 chapters. I don't really lead the questioning. I want her to be the driver of the questioning and really talking about the text. So as I read, I usually pause and discuss vocabulary at times, or kind of reflect as I'm reading myself when I don't understand something. We often use Google to look up a word or even a historical reference, but it's been really fun just learning together. In the future, as we get deeper into the text, I have a feeling that our discussions will get a little bit meatier. So I'm looking forward to that. And over the holidays, which are coming soon, we have a couple of long road trips. So I'm looking forward to using the Audible app to listen to the text during our drives. So that's our experience, just one example. And Kaelee felt more comfortable or was happy with just reading aloud. Your teen may not appreciate that. And so again, just thinking about what it is that your teen would enjoy and appreciate is how you need to plan this time. So as this pandemic persists on, I know we're all trying to make the best of it. So, since some of us are working from home or alongside our children while they're at school and there are less activities, there's no time like the present to begin reading together with your teen. So here on this slide are some ways that you can build routines and some engagement tips when thinking about reading with your older children. Getting involved as a family and reading together, if everyone can agree on a book, and that can be a picture book or it can be a chapter book. It could also be the newspaper. So spending some time as a family, setting aside 30 to 45 minutes in a day to sit down in a comfortable place, maybe with some good snacks, to just read together. A lot of the bloggers, when reading about, looking for current research and information about reading aloud, suggest multitasking. So maybe while you're making dinner or cleaning up, you can engage in reading aloud or just discussing books that you've read. Another way is to make the most of your family vacations. Enjoy a book together on that vacation and think about the memories you'll make. Here listed, you'll also see some engagement tips that may help you. But above all, I would just say, let your teen be in the driver's seat. Let them choose. Allow them to be part of the planning when you're deciding how and when to start your read aloud. So really quickly, I'm just going to wrap up with some of the benefits, and I apologize, it's raining hard here, if you can hear that. Let me just wrap up with some of the benefits that, again, have been echoed throughout today's session. There are many benefits to parents as well as your teen. Research says that reading with your older children improves parenting competence and self-esteem. Taking the opportunity to read with your children allows you to know them better and see how they react to situations, what their beliefs are, and so on. Reading aloud with your teen is also a benefit because it opens the door to discussing difficult conversations. And we all know how tricky that can be with a teenager. Again, read over the benefits for children. And the one that really resonated with me was was bullet number 1 that says, read aloud allows your child to just listen and learn to love the story, which is especially relevant to my reluctant reader. All right, we're gonna go. So here are the do's and don'ts to wrap up this portion. It's okay to choose great picture books, even for a teenager. This is also a fun way to get the whole family involved. Allow for discussion, but let your children be the one to read, to lead that. And feel free to use other resources during your discussions to bring authors to life or learn new information. We have, on the next slide, we have some resources that we've identified for you. And for the sake of time, I'm not going to go over those, but check them out. The blue ones highlighted were the ones that we really appreciated. So check those out when you get the information following our session today. So my colleague Maggie Walsh has been managing the chat box during today's session and may have answered some of your questions already. But if you have additional questions, feel free to add them to that chat now. Maggie, are there any questions that just with the time that we have left that any of our panelists can answer or respond to?
Yeah, thanks, Mindy. So there were a lot of great questions. Some were specific to being the parent of a young child or an older child, or even being a teacher of children who are at home during the pandemic. And I think the thing I'd like to highlight is that the questions were so thoughtful, and we really appreciate that you were kind of willing to let us into like how the at-home practice is going for you, or how the at-home practice is going for you or your child, so that we could try to give you good advice. I just popped into the last question that was asked by one of the classroom teachers, and she was thinking about how to make sure that she could help families be aware of resources that are available online. And so if you take a look in the Q&A, which I think will also show up in the recording, you will just see some of the free resources that are available, Mindy, that you and Julie found, but also for folks who are here in Chicago Public Schools. They have made a deal this year with a variety of different vendors to make a lot of resources available for free. And I put that information in the chat. And then our colleague Tween, who did such a nice job bringing us into today's session, also earlier posted about my very own library, which has some really wonderful read alouds in addition to other free resources as well. Thanks for your feedback. Thanks for your attendance. I'll pass back over to Tween, who I think will wrap us up for the evening.
Yes, thank you, Maggie. And I want to thank our special guest stars, Wendy, Hanna, and their children. So just, getting that feedback and seeing how that might work in the household. I am currently living with a 17-year-old who we're at the point where he's, studying for class a lot, and we're dealing with college applications right now. But during the pandemic, I said, you have to go outside at least once a day. And he went outside our house with a lawn chair and read a book for 2 hours. And that was the power of reading aloud when he was younger, making sure he had a book in his hand. And even during this time period, he's picking up things and trying to find books in our household where he can utilize as well. So I just appreciate seeing the growth and development of the young people, the different young people, and how families are dealing with this as well. And one of the questions was about just resources and what to do with libraries being closed. There are a lot of interesting kind of free books and the kind of little libraries that are posted around. And maybe we can include some of those links to some of those organizations that are doing some of that work in different neighborhoods around Chicago. So it would be Chicago centric. But if you have any specific questions, feel free to reach out via the registration email, or reach out to one of us who's probably available via the University of Chicago website. So we want to thank the School of Social Service Administration, SSA, and UEI. We want to thank our planning committee, which included Maggie Wash, Tanisha Washington, Adrian Talbot, Todd Burnett, and myself. We want to definitely thank our technological support team and the SSA event team, Carmela and Sid, and also UChicago Impact for doing this excellent presentation this evening. We have 2 more sessions left. They're Tuesday nights at 5. The next session, I might have these conflated. The next 2 sessions topics, one is about social emotional learning at home. It's a partnership with CPS and Thrive. And the other one is about screen time and rest. So we actually have a doctor that studies rest and sleep that's going to talk to us about like how we figure out what our sleeping patterns and rest patterns should be. So look for those. Again, the recording, the deck, and any additional information that came up in the Q&A will be emailed to every registrant. And we recommend and strongly encourage everybody to share those videos with people that might need them, whether that's if you're a teacher with other teachers in your building, if you're a parent with other families that might be interested in hearing that information, and if you're a community organization, with your community organization, wherever you are, because I think that's valuable information on what could we be doing in this time in the pandemic. We've now hit 6:01, so please be safe, be well, take care, and we hope to see you all back at our next sessions next week, again, Tuesdays at 5 p.m. over the next 2 weeks. Thank you very much and have a great evening.